for a few more people to tune in, and then, yeah, try and keep this to a quick one because I'm fucking fuming. Robbie Gray again comes back to bite us in the ass. Can he just get stuffed? I hate you, Robbie Gray, so much. Stop kicking crucial goals and crucial points against us, because that was just... To be fair, it wasn't even... It should have been a non-contest at halftime. I mean, what was the... 4-18. We kicked the first 3 goals of the game, and then we kicked 1 goal 15 for the rest of the day. I'm upset at Port Adelaide because they didn't deserve to win. I didn't think. They played the better, probably quarter and a half at the end of the game, but we were the best team for the first 2 quarters and just couldn't kick straight, and it could have been 5 goals up at quarter time and we weren't. But reality is we kicked 4 goals 18. No team is ever going to win a game when they kick that shit. And just like the commentators just said, there was no wind. You know, it was a ugly game. It was a slog. It was hot. It was humid. The ball was on the deck the whole time. But we just didn't play smart. We just played some stupid football that really cost us. There were so many almost chances at the end for us to win it. But at the end of the day, I could just sense it that we were either going to snatch a draw or we were going to lose by a point. I just couldn't see us winning. Things weren't clicking for us, and we just let Adelaide do whatever the hell he wanted in the back line, just kept bombing it to him. This is probably the first time this year that we just bombed it a lot more, and I don't know if it's maybe because the game was more taxing and therefore we couldn't play our run and spread game because of this, really what the conditions brought. We played to the conditions and didn't stick to our game plan. But, you know, Dougal Howard at the end did some really silly things. I thought some of our kicks inside 50 were just pathetic and bombing it. And it's hard to tell how much it was to do with the conditions. And that brings me to my point on why the F are we playing in Cairns? If this game was at Marvel Stadium and we played that first half, we would have been 5-6 goals up under the roof at Marvel. And we would have been talking about a win today. This would have been a win. But we go to Cairns after travelling. We had 2 travels. We go to Canberra and then we go to Cairns. Sure, we make some extra money, but really, was that really worth it at the end of the day when you lose to Port Adelaide by a point when we should have won and been 6-1 and going into the Melbourne game next week in a lot of confidence? Instead now, we're battered bodies, losing by a point in Cairns. We've been up there all week. Honestly, it just cost us. You know, selling this game cost us the 4 points. Port Adelaide, sure, they fought it out at the end, great, but you know, so were we. It just wasn't a clean game. Like, who kicked their most goals? I think it was Robbie Gray in the end, and he only did that in the second half. Stats wise, I think we got smashed in the second half. They had more disposals, more handballs. We had 61, did we? 61 inside 50s. And I think we had 25-4 in the first quarter or something. Like, it was a domination in that first quarter, and we just couldn't get the score on the scoreboard. We had more hit-outs, we had more clearances, more centre clearances, more stoppage clearances, more contested possessions by a shitload. And you'd think you win contested possessions in a game like this by a lot, you win the game. Not the case. Uncontested, we lost by an absolute ton. So what we made up in contested, we just let them chip it around. We gave them full possession in that second half and let them dictate play. And we just couldn't maximise on our inside 50s, and that's been our strength all year, is disposal efficiency inside 50 and scoring efficiency inside 50. And tonight, our scoring was 4 goals 18 off 60 odd inside 50s, which is, you know, something that you're never going to win a game when you do that. It was, and disposal efficiency inside 50 was, I think, 34%. So that's probably the lowest it's been all season for us. And even, you know, personnel-wise, there wasn't really anyone that, to me, kind of didn't stand up for us. Like, Tom Campbell came in, I thought he was serviceable. again, Dan Butler only had the 8 disposals in a game like this where you need your smalls working overtime when the ball's on the deck. He only had 8 again, which is massive disappointment. Max King did his best, but again, just missed some crucial shots for us. Jack Higgins is the same. I was telling my family, I was watching it with them tonight, and I was like, our 2 best forwards, the 2 forwards that you want, getting the ball a lot because they kick goals, are the 2 forwards that you're most worried about when they're taking the shots, Max King and Jack Higgins. And tonight that was the same. Who kicked the most behinds tonight? It was Gresham kicked 3, Higgins kicked 3, King kicked 2, Paddy Ryder kicked 2, and Nasiah Wanganeen-Malera, who I, by the way, will say was, just one of the rare players that had any sort of composure with the ball. He had, what did he finish with? He had 18 disposals, and even at the end there, he was the one player trying to hit targets. So that was really good. I thought Windhager started really well in this game. And again, this isn't, a rant sort of video because we're 5-2. We lost by a point. It could have well have been a draw. It could have been a win any other day, but it wasn't. The disappointing thing is we started really well and we gave up a 19-point... we had a 19-point lead, and similar to the Adelaide game last year, at the same ground, we kind of coughed it up and couldn't hold on, but we fought it out, and it was just one of those games. Geelong had it today against Fremantle. I mean, it would have been nice to win 6 in a row, but Port Adelaide just always win these games against us. We never seem to win close games against Port. They always seem to snatch it, and when it got really tough and the slog was on in that second half, they kind of lifted, and I felt like they had the cleaner possessions. Amon, Robbie Gray got back into the game. Ollie Wines, Boak, they got their hands on the ball a lot more than us. And their inside 50s were, to dangerous spots, top of the square, to leading players. And outs were just bombs, and they were just repelling. And Alir just did whatever he wanted. I'm pretty sure he had probably the most marks on the ground. Let me just double check. Ryan Burton, 9 marks. Dan Houston, 7. Alir had 5. Felt like he had about 1 million, but our inside 50s, it just wasn't a smart game. And we've been up there all week and thought maybe that would have been something to have an advantage over, but clearly it wasn't. And it seemed like Port knew after half time that they needed to play fast and isolate our defence, because our defence as a whole, when they play together, really strong, really compact and really disciplined. But because they were playing a lot faster in the second half, they got us in a lot more one-on-ones. They got a lot more space with their opponents with the 6-6-6 rule, and that kind of gave them more scoring opportunities, and they took them. Whereas for us, when we got it in there, it wasn't one-on-ones. It wasn't, opportunities for our forwards to be isolated and to use their strengths. It was always crowded. The ball was always coming in at Jack Higgins' feet, Max King's feet, and on a night like tonight, they're great beneath their knees, picking the ball up, but on a night like tonight, it was never going to happen. It was going to be a very ugly, very dewy type game, and that's exactly what we got, and we knew that. I knew that going into tonight. It wasn't going to be an easy game, and I just wanted to come away with the 4 points. As ugly as it could have been, I wanted to just get the win and move on, but unfortunately, Robbie Gray had to do what he always bloody does and basically win it for Port against us. So that's kind of my hot take on it. We'll go through some of your comments quickly now, and then I'll wrap it up because I'm honestly drained by the emotions of that second half of that fourth quarter. That really did piss me off. Steve says, we played in New Zealand. Oh, actually, we'll go all the way to top. Why can't we tag Robbie Gray? Probably because he's not a player that you tag. I mean, he was dangerous in the forward half, but he didn't go into the midfield that often, so you wouldn't tag him. Steve says, let's go to the bottom. Robbie Gray's literally the main villain against us. Did Dougal Howard throw the match? I doubt it. It was good to see the lads having a vacation on social media during the week. Yeah, I don't know about that one. What else we got? Eugene says, Jake, mate, get real. We played like we were still on holiday. Fly in, fly out next time to get them focused. Little reality check there. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair call. We don't want to ever get too kind of big for our shoes, and it could be a little bit of a kick up the arse before we play Melbourne. You know, you can get complacent winning all these games, but I'd like to think winning is better than losing, regardless of, you know, whether you need to, you know, get a kick up the arse or not. Andrew says, hard to fathom how these professionals can miss such easy shots at goal. It's becoming worrying trend again, and the Sykes have a lot of work to do. Out-coached today. I'd just say we kicked ourselves out of it. I don't think Ken Hinkley really did that much different, apart from make them play faster in the second half. Matchup-wise, we got the matchups we wanted. We had more shots than them, more inside 50s than them. I mean, I thought we on any other day we win that game and win it comfortably, but tonight we didn't. John says, Malira played well in sloppy conditions, need to kick through the ball when shooting for goal. Pretty piss poor goal kicking again from the same players. Why in the hell do we go to Cairns? Bit of Muller, that's exactly why. And honestly, I don't give a shit about that money. I just want to get wins on the board. And clearly money is a thing that the club needs more than ever at the moment. But I don't think it was smart to, or at least for the AFL, to schedule Canberra then Cairns. Like, break it up a little bit with the game in Marvel, for God's sake. We never play Port Adelaide at Marvel, and we played them once there last year, and that's kind of the first time in like 7 years. David says, why do we play these crap games in the tropics? We could have been at Marvel. Who makes these ridiculous decisions? People at the club, I suppose. Would love to be in the rooms right now. That's from Gurin. Taking money to lose games, fucking disgraceful. May will take 50 marks next week, the way we're kicking inside 50. Probably right. We need to fix that up. But again, it's very hard to tell whether it was to do with the conditions or the way we're playing tonight, because the conditions really forced us to play that way. We weren't going to play our normal game plan in the tropics. That was never going to happen. It was always going to be a slog fest. Hopefully Billings, Jones and Marshall back next week. That's from Lockie, absolutely. We'll only get stronger next week. But it won't be an easy next couple of weeks. We've got, as Tess mentions, we've got Melbourne, then we've got Geelong, and then we've got Adelaide in Adelaide. And that's never an easy task for us. I hate Robbie Gray. That's from Geordie, mate. I think every Saints fan is sick of Robbie Gray. He's too busy beating us all the time. Brett and Jessica are saying, you calm me down. Thanks, Jakey. So angry with this loss. Yeah, I'm not angry. I'm just really, really upset because I don't think Port did anything special to beat us. I think, if anything, it was just us missing goals. I really want to give Port Adelaide credit. I thought they fought it out. They gave themselves a chance to win. But if we kick straight, they don't win. And we didn't kick straight, and that's exactly what happens when you don't. You lose those games. This one's from Damien. Ratton's directive was to play a territory game, which we played into Port's hands as we just slammed it on the boot, even when we didn't have to. Very good call there. I'd be very interested to see what Rat says in the post-game. 2 hours of agony to watch and we still lose. Before I die, I just want to know why Gray got 50. Yeah, they still don't even... what was that 50 for that Robbie Gray got in the third term? Still nothing of that. They just went to an ad break after the goal and the commentators said nothing about it. We seem to find a Lear every time going inside 50. That's from James. Max King needs a spell. That's from Wilbur. I don't think he needs a spell, mate. I think he just needs a bit of confidence. He needs to get on a roll. And he stood up in the first couple of minutes of the last quarter, and I thought, here we go again. But we're not going to get it our way every single week, but hopefully we do more times than not. Ryan says, Zach Jones should be in the side in those conditions, plain and simple, very bad at the selection table. I think it was just him recovering from COVID, mate. I think it was probably a mutual decision for him not to play this week and travel up to Cairns, especially on the Tuesday. This is from Ben, just a shocking game. Gray killed us again. A positive, though, was Nasai Wanganeen-Malira. Absolute class. Yeah, he's going to be a star. Same old story. Saints, it's from Steve. I wouldn't jump the gun and say, same old story. Here we go again. It's not one of those things. This is a game we should have won, and we didn't. But we know that our form is good, and tonight it's very hard to tell. It's very hard to tell whether there was Port Adelaide's pressure, whether it was a mix of being in Cairns all week or just playing in Cairns at all. I don't think it's the sort of ground that the players get that excited about, to be honest. You know, it's not like they've got 40,000 Saints cheering them on. And those conditions are never easy, like, at all. I've played in very hot conditions, and it's a tough ask to go 4 quarters like that. And we started really well, and I didn't think our fitness died off. Like, you know, we talk about being a fit team. I didn't notice that we lacked it in the last quarter. I think in the last minute, it was us or them to score. And it was, just similar to 2009 grand final where the ball's in the middle of the ground and has to go one way. In the end, it goes to Port and Robbie Gray's out the back just waiting for it because he's not going to defend at that point. He's just going to wait for an easy over the back. And that's exactly what he got. And all he needed to do was kick a point, and that was it. And it could have well have gone the other way, and we could have kicked that point, but it didn't. And that's kind of the beauty and the horror of AFL footy is you don't know which way the ball's going to bounce. And as we know very well, it doesn't really bounce our way in those moments. First quarter, should have had a decent lead. Yep, I agree with that, Andrew. We should have been killing them at quarter time, but we missed our chances. And that's I think that's the key takeout from the game is we need to take our chances when we've got momentum. And, most of the time this year we've done that, but at this point, we haven't. And we got punished tonight by, I wouldn't say a better team, but a team that was slightly more efficient. They kicked a lot of points themselves, but, we just kicked a record amount of points for the year, I think, apart from maybe one other team. I think Melbourne last week kicked over 20. So even Melbourne, the best team in the comp, are capable. They just eventually kick goals and that gets them the wins. Thomas says, every player did his job tonight except kick straight. We won that game but lost the points. Windhager, Malira have to go. That's a terrible call, mate. I thought Malira was one of our best players, and Windhager probably comes out anyway for Zach Jones, but I don't think it's because his form's down. I think it's just because Zach Jones is a better player at the moment. Luke says, I was hoping this was a new kill. Unfortunately, this is the same crap we've rushed up. We've rushed up for a decade. I wouldn't go that far, mate. I think, Port have a point to prove. They've started the year pretty badly, but their form's definitely better than their ladder position indicates. But yeah, overall, it was just a lack of efficiency in front of goal that really cost us. So, I think I'm going to leave it there, guys. My voice is stuffed from that last 5 or 10 minutes. I'm really struggling to get through the video, so I might leave it there. No rant, unfortunately, for people that want to come on here and take pot shots. I know there's a lot of non-saners that love to hop on after a loss, and this is their first time in 5 weeks that they can do that. But, I'm hopeful that we can get Jonesy back, Billings back, and Marshall next week, and just, go full throttle at Melbourne, who, got through the job against Hawthorn today, but again, they weren't at their all-time best. They'll get players back today, or next week, from COVID, Luke Jackson and these sort of guys, but we're going to get players back as well for other reasons. So I'm not disheartened. This doesn't make me worry about our prospects for the season because some teams go through these games, and we could have easily been talking about a 1-point win tonight, and we would have been loving it. And the ball just bounced the other way, and Robbie Gray does what he always does. So it's just one of those games, and I know some Saners will be really upset about that, more so than me, and want to write off the season because of it, but I'm trying to be a bit more reasonable about it, and we're not going to go the season undefeated. Obviously, we've lost to Collingwood, and tonight was a game that, a lot of people had a bad feeling about, and it's because it's in Cairns, because it's dewy. It makes it an even ball game, and at Marvel under the roof, I really do think Max King and Jack Higgins get off the chain and kick goals, and we win the game tonight. But we wanted the money. We went up to Cairns, and Port Adelaide pushed a bit harder in the last quarter, and that was really enough for them to get that 1-point lead at the end. And we tried our best to win it. We had chances. We had Seb Ross running through. We had Nasiah. We had Higgins. We had players in the last quarter that could have won it for us, but we didn't capitalise. And when you don't capitalise in AFL footy, you end up losing the game more times than not. So we probably got what we deserved with the field kicking that we had. We would have been very lucky to win that game with the field kicking and the set shot kicking that we had. But hopefully it's a bit of a wake-up call. Or not really a wake-up call, just a reminder that we need to be switched on at all times. And I think, it's kind of implied when you're playing Melbourne, you need to be switched on. So I think there's two things that will come from the next week is that we're playing Melbourne. We need to be at our best. We're going to get players back, which is great. And we need to learn to bloody kick straight because against Melbourne, they're going to have a lot of shots themselves. We need to take our chances when they come. So I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Again, really, really upset, really disappointed. I hate 1-point losses. I hate losses like that. especially Port Adelaide. They're basically my second most hated team. Hate Geelong, but I hate Port just as much. And we've lost too many close ones against them. And, you know, they did it again to us tonight and just can't stand that team. But, you know, they took their chance at the end and we missed about 15 million chances during the game. So you get that from it. So, yeah, thanks for watching, Saners. I'll leave it there. My player ratings will be out tomorrow. That'll be very interesting because, you know, I didn't figure there was too many standouts apart from maybe a couple. So there might be some harsh ratings in there, but we'll see tomorrow. And this full review will be up on YouTube in the next 30 minutes. So if you want to watch the full review in full, go to YouTube. It's under /Saints TV pod. And I'll be back on Tuesday night as well for the podcast. And then the lead up to the big game against Melbourne next Sunday. So I've got over a week to recover. The Mother's Day match against Melbourne at the G. So until then, guys, take care of yourselves. Don't be too disheartened about tonight. It was really upsetting. We played probably a style of football that we haven't played all year and it didn't come off, but I think we tried to do something based on the conditions. And I think we got the opportunities to win the game, but we didn't take them, and that's kind of the end result. We lose because we missed a lot of shots. So don't be disheartened. Let's get behind the boys and get to the G next Sunday and cheer them on and take on the best team in the land. And hey, if we beat Melbourne next week, we can forget about this week. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend if you can, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week on the channel. Take care, guys, and go Saints.